Ah ben je te remercie. Toi aussi tu déchires. Ici, ici.
C'est agressif, je trouve.
Attention, ici. Faites ça. Coucou, voilà. Voilà.
Avec Épale. Ouais, c'est très de photos.
Bonjour,
Ei!
sail ofizialeko lehiaketaz kanpoko Samba filmaren prentsaurrekoa egingo dugu orain. Buenos días.
Good morning. Let's hold the press conference of the film in the official sales section, but out of competition as Samba. We've got Olivier Natage and Eric Toledano, Charlotte Gainsbourg, and the actor Omar Sy, both of the film Samba. And they're eagerly awaiting your questions. First question, please, if you'd be so kind.
Aquí en el centro, por favor.
Here in the center, please. Hi. My question first for the directors. I would like to know when you decided that the leading actor and actress was going to be made. What did you think? What did you see in both of them that could have worked and for the film? When you decide to choose the leading actress and the leading actor.
D'écrire le scénario, on a tout de suite pensé à ce couple.
When we wrote the script, immediately we thought in this couple, a couple which is quite original, a couple which is the first time that they've done this, and I also would like to continue to work with Omar. After Untouchables, we wanted to explore other lines of work, but it's our fifth film, and we wanted to deal with a love story. And immediately we thought about Charlotte Gainsbourg. I don't know why, but it appeared naturally, quite a natural process. And we saw her even before we wrote the script. We went to talk to her to see whether she was interested in making a film with us and with Omar. And I think she said yes at that time. Hi, good morning. Your cinema is between your custom sort of like social cinema and comedy. It's a very interesting line to follow that has been explored throughout the history of cinema in different. Berlanga did it with Mano Maestra. Lubitsch also had that trend to do so, to make films like that as well. I would like to know what are you're better in a comedy type situation, albeit they're French. They have a humor and an air which is quite universal from what they say, or whether social cinema is more important to you. Exactly what interests us is the mixture of both things. I would like to add, for example, the reference of Italian comedy of the 1970s and also English comedy, which managed to achieve a certain nobleness in cinema, because in comedy we tend to separate and label and say, on the one hand we've got a comedy, and it's as if we had to separate it from other types of cinema. But what we like to do is to mix both genres, both universes and atmospheres to create something new. We like to address issues which are taboo or which are in a big, powerful social context, and then to give a certain lighter tone to it. Because if the comedy is well managed, and the comedy allows us to go further in depth into the subject matter and to attract a larger audience towards an issue which is not easy to address, an issue which is not going to attract a big audience to spend 2 hours in a movie theater. And it corresponds with what Olivier and I like to do. That is to say, we precisely like both things, to mix both things up. We like mixing things. There's two of us, we're a duo, but we like to mix genres as well.
Bonjour,
Good morning and welcome to the Basque Country. Euskadi, I come from the border of the Bidasoa, close to the French border. My father is from Sierra Leone and he's stuck in Sierra Leone due to the Ebola disease, unfortunately. Thank you very much to all of you for a film such as you've just shown us and made. Well, I live here, but Yes, I know the problems that you address in the film. Yes, I've also lived by that problem between being stuck between two cultures. So you make me very envious, but I do have a question. And the question is to all of you. In this project, in this film, I don't know how to ask it. What interested you in the project above all? And secondly, I don't know. Sierra Leone and Africa, there are many problems with Ebola. I don't know whether you would like to say something in order to support all those people that are living there, to give them a bit of encouragement. I've sent a package today, which won't arrive until about 15 days' time to Sierra Leone. They have nothing to eat at the present moment. The situation is truly critical in Sierra Leone. I don't know whether you give any words of encouragement. Why? Why are we interested in this issue or subject matter? Along with Eric, we talked about our society, yes, and now in France we're going through a period which is quite difficult. After Untouchable with Eric, we felt like continue to talk about our society. We felt like talking about those things that surround us and that happen around us. We realized that we were looking at a new phenomenon which has that label of burnout on it. We talked about nervous depression. Now we call it a burnout, depression linked to one's work. And we've talked about that idea with Eric. We talked about this quite a lot, to how far we can go, or how far we will go to seek happiness and well-being. We work and work and work, and we don't stop working. All of a sudden we go crack. And we wanted to link both issues, that is to say, a character who has a problem to access the labor world, a working world, and to achieve documentation, to work and work. And we wanted to mix things with another person who initially everything seems to be going okay, but that's not the case, because she goes crack today as well. So therefore one is in the lower scale and the other's on the social class, which is higher in the labor market. We wanted to link both things and take a snapshot of the French society and also of the European society in general. Yes, and as regards, and along with Eric, even before we wrote Untouchable, we were already interested in this subject matter. We always were surprised to see the images of those people that we see with their white or blue jalebas behind the hotels, and they go out, or they're wearing a white or blue cloak or whatever when they go outside to smoke, and the outside in a hotel or whatever. We wanted to get close to one of those people, one Samba, like thousands of other people, and we wanted to approach and look at those people who are usually in the shade or in the dark because they try to be discreet, as we see in the film. That's what we see in the first part of the film. We see how there's a party, everything's going okay, but that's not the story we want to tell. We want to tell the story of those people that are behind it, so that all that machinery can work, and that's the story we want to tell. Those people that are behind, that make all of that machinery work, who work in the work sites, and for example, or clean dishes, or work on the scaffolding. That new working world represented by all of those people who come to seek work in our country. And that's why we were interested, to mix all of those elements together. And the last question, yes, it's true. Thank you very much. That's very interesting what you're saying. I admire you. You're an actor who's a fantastic actor. You're a great comic as well in France. And this is questions for Omar. Congratulations. But Dieudonné is also someone who I admire, who's probably the best in France. I know it's a bit controversial now. I don't want to ask any controversial question. The roles that you choose when you portray roles, yes, those roles that you portray in cinema are roles that you seek that you try for them to make the audience reflect upon certain issues? Well, I do a job, and we're quite a varied nature of things can be done. I can make films that have an intense background and make us reflect upon things, but above all, I started making people laugh, and that's what I really like today. Or I can do both things, and to make a film like Samba interests me enormously, and I think it's very important to make films such as these when the issue interests us. I'm very interested in this issue. I can also do X-Men, for example. I like to be able to do both things, and that's the quite fortune I've got in this profession. I'm fortunate enough to be all over the place, and sometimes what I portray may be happy or sad, but that's what I like. Thank you very much. Yes, please. Could you tell me how you documented yourself? And what investigation work did you? Who did you talk to, and how you wanted to portray those office buildings and those places where all of these people that don't have any, that don't have the right documents are stuck. I'm not too sure whether the film has been premiered in France. If it's been premiered in France, I would like to know, how did it go vis-a-vis box office and audience? Was it comparable to Untouchable, which was a real big hit? The film is premiered on the 15th of October in France, so therefore we will have to wait a little less than a month. We still don't know what we expect that we're going to receive a good critique, but we're trying to reduce the pressure after what happened to us with Untouchable. It's quite clear that we'll never be able to have that success, but we're very happy and to have had that success with Untouchable. Well, we said, okay, now we're free, so let's do what we want to do, and Samba is something that we wanted to do. If people wanted to come along, just like big audiences like Untouchable, we'd be glad to see that, but we've tried to minimize our pressure. And as regards to the document and research work, yes, we went to associations. We visited the association. We've carried out an in-depth research to get as close as possible to reality. We've been with volunteers in places where they're arrested. We went to a clinic to see how the burnout depression is treated. There are people who listened to music and who lost their hair, and that we used all of those elements in order to provide more richness to the script. Well, good morning. I love Charlotte. I'm a big fan of her mother and father, a big fan of her parents. I know Charlotte. I've seen her in French TV. I think she's a great actress. But I would like to say something vis-a-vis the film that we've just seen in this film festival. And this isn't something that only happens in Paris, it also happens here, just around in Pasaje San Juan. And the Spanish press doesn't talk about this, but there are workers waiting at 5 o'clock in the morning, waiting for someone to come along to choose them, to give them a job. For a day, I thought the film was a very beautiful film, and a film which was very beautiful. Good and beautiful. Thank you very much for your film. But I insist, here, just like in Paris, the same thing happens in San Sebastian, just around the corner. There's a say from San Sebastian. Thank you, thank you. Any other questions, please? Yes, please, in the front row. Microphone, please. Hi, good morning. A question for the directors. This film is presented outside in the official section, but outside the competition. Why did you decide to not put it in the competitive side or part of the official section? It's difficult to answer you. The film, like Olivier said, has not been premiered yet in France. We're going to go through, do a tour throughout France. This is a side decided upon agenda issues and an agreement between the distributors and us. I have no answer. But if you interested and you want to vote for us, even if we're not in the competitive side of the official section, do so, please, sir. And we'd be glad to receive the award if they give it to us. Any further question? Yes, in the second row there. For both actors, how much time did you take to prepare your characters, and for Charlotte, and what has been the main reason in order to accept to portray this role? Well, the reasons were very simple. I got in touch with Eric and with Olivier, and they got in touch with me, and they talked about the project. They talked about Omar, and I said yes straight away almost. And then they wrote the script, and from the beginning I was under the impression that I was forming part of this team and this crew and this cast. To enter into a story before it's being written is not a normal thing, a run-of-the-mill thing that happens every day. So everything was there so that I could feel like doing it, so that immediately I would say yes. Yes, preparation. How do we prepare? Well, it is true that it's very interesting and quite gratifying for an actor to undertake a project of this nature with one idea in mind before writing the script from the beginning. That prepares you. You start to imagine what's going to happen. And then there was so much to do, especially to portray a role such as Samba, where I had to do a lot of documents, to see films, to talk to many people who had followed this path and this journey to understand how and this people live through this situation. France is not the same for me, for them. I had to understand their perspective, their point of view, and their motivations in order to go through this journey with so many risks, just as they have done. So therefore, we've had to document and learn about all of what they've done quite in depth. Congratulations for the film, and I would like to ask the directors. Omar is he's like a talisman. He's a good luck charm. Are you thinking about making another film with him? Thank you. Yes, if the Americans allow us to have him, yes. Now they're trying to steal him from us. Yes, when we make 10 films, we'll stop. And we've set an alarm. When the alarm sets off, we'll stop working with him. Okay? But he's a good luck charm, isn't he? The truth is, I advise him to many directors, yes. I would take him like a good luck charm, hang him around my neck, yes. Another question back there, please. Hi, good morning. My question, and as many questions have asked, has to do with accessibility of the films for blind and or deaf people. I say this because I'm a director of a teaser called Switch the Light Off and You'll See, which has been premiered exclusively in the gala of the Basque Cinema in this film festival. And I insist my question is the teaser that I presented is completely accessible. It has subtitles and a little window for blind people and audio description for blind people. I'd like to know whether your film is accessible or do you want to make it accessible and so on. The second question is, well, to share a minute with you after the press conference so that you can perhaps support my project is give me your vision to struggle against pigmentary retinosis, which is the disease I suffer. Thank you very much. I think that the film, yes, is going to have the audio description for people who have, for deaf or blind people. I think it is. We're not experts in this issue, but I can say that Untouchable, I know that there's a copy that went through France with audio description. I says, yes, I can confirm that. Yes, that was the case. Yes. Yes, of course. Yes, of course we want to support you in your cause and your project. Of course, yes. A question for Charlotte Gainsbourg. I would like to ask you, in your profession as an actress, there exists that syndrome of burnout syndrome that you undergo in the film. Yes, it does. That's all I want to add. Yes, it does exist in every profession.
Il existe aussi chez...
And it also exists amongst directors as well. And I can confirm that. But the difference is that what we tell in the film, there's a certain suffering that takes place. A global burnout is by Pascal Chabot, who's a Belgian writer. In the introduction, he talks about the pathology of this civilization, and he says that in the 1960s, we promised modernity vis-a-vis the population to free it from something, but now we are more and more slaves of many, many things, like, for example, with our computers, our email, and our mobile phone. Now everyone can get in touch with us even on the weekends, and I believe that happens to us, but without the dimension of the suffering one undergoes. But it is true, the fact that people can get in touch with you, this is something that makes us sensitive vis-a-vis that issue, perhaps even... Well, it makes us more sensitive, shall we say, to that subject, or to that issue. Good morning. Congratulations for the film. A film, it's a novel of the Coulon sisters, written by them, because the film is inspired in Samba pour la France, written by Delphine Coulon. And that'll say, what have you kept of the book? I imagine there are characters that you've kept and others that have probably disappeared. I think it's the first time that you're inspired your work upon a novel and making the film. Yes. As I said before, this is an issue that interested us for quite a few years now, and in Delphine Coulon's novel has been used as the foundations. Delphine Coulon worked in an association for many years as a volunteer, and Samba is a compilation of different people that she met. So therefore, this represents a very solid foundation, a very interesting foundation. The novel is less comical, and that is to say it has less comedy. We have wanted to add a certain distance and certain lightness, and Alice's character that Charlotte portrays didn't appear in the book. We have kept the plot and Samba's character and the uncle's character and Jonas' character as well, but on the contrary, we've included the notion of burnout through Charlotte's character. The novel has 300 or 400 pages, and we had to be much briefer, so therefore we've had to leave things out. And we've worked with the author and her sister, with Delphine and her sister Muriel, who had made a film which was called 17 Filles. We have worked along with them to write the script, and the truth is it's been something absolutely new for us. In the book, it tells the story of a man from Senegal who loses his identity, and he loses it, and the film is because he didn't know who he was, and that was quite present throughout the book or the novel, and it's quite clear that Alice and Charlotte's character was very important in the film. And yes, for us it's the first time that we've done this, and the experience has been quite pleasant. That is to say, to adapt a book and place it on the screen. Any further questions? No further questions? Well, thank you very much.
Eskerrik asko.